Greetings, everyone. Thank you for joining me. Welcome back. Welcome if this is your first time on my channel. All right, so I'm going to get right to it. This is Das Mu. I'm going to be talking about the relationship between the Christian celebration of Easter and the ancient indigenous concept of Maa Kheru from ancient Kemet. It goes by different names. It's not exclusive to ancient Kemet. It may be represented in different aspects of ancient culture. Okay, so a lot of holidays have their foundation in astrological principles. And Easter is one such example of a Christian holiday with its foundation, paradoxically, in astrological sciences. You may or may not know the concept of the Trivium and Quadrivium. The Quadrivium has four aspects: numbers, geometry, music, and astrology. Not astronomy, astrology. Arithmetic is the science of numbers. Geometry is the numbers of space, three-dimensional space. Music is the number science of time. In astrology, you combine time and space. Trying to describe the Trivium and Quadrivium, it's like trying to describe the consciousness that is the great Amen. Can't be done, but I'm going to attempt to do it. Trivium is a lot of things. Trivium represents the stages of learning, usage of words, the use of the words pertaining to the universe, among other things. I'm just trying to give it some shape. The trivium is essentially the laws that represent the universe, written laws. The quadrivium are the laws that represent the universe, but in number form. Everything dealing with the universe can be interpreted through written words and numbers. Now, how can this be? How can everything dealing with the universe be summarized into written laws and numerical laws? This is the law of correspondence. The laws of correspondence says, as above, so below. We can understand the world around us, above and below, in order to interpret our divinity. These are tools to understand our divinity because the patterns of life are repeated. This is what the law of correspondence shows us. Astrology is part of the quadrivium. What many of the world religions, including Christianity, have done is that they have codified astrology into the religion, into Christianity. All right, so Easter is proof of such. Easter is always the first Sunday after the first full moon, after the equinox. This is why you don't have a particular day that Easter is celebrated on. Okay, Christmas, December 25th, every year. No questions about it. You know that's Christmas. Let's look at the concept of Maa Kheru first, then I'll come back to Easter. Maa Kheru is the concept of accepting and operating based on being divine. Your divine self. It's about knowing that you're divine, accepting your divinity. Every word that's spoken by you takes into consideration your divine self at all times. If you are true to your Maa Kheru self, when you set goals, you set them and you have faith and you know they will be reached. There's no doubt, there's no fear, and you live life according to being divine. The phrase Maa Kheru, it comes to true of word, okay? Being true to what you speak. Anything else is considered a lie, and you can never speak negatively about yourself. That is the ultimate sin. That is to accept or not know that you are divine. It goes beyond positive thinking. Okay, Maa Kheru is the acceptance, it's the full acceptance of your God self. And that when you're thinking from that vantage point, You have to be positive about everything you do. The story of Maa Kheru is also embedded in the 10 Commandments as well as the 42 laws of Maat. Any reference to lying, thou shalt not lie. You're lying when you're making statements or identifying yourself as something other than divine, godlike, right? That's the lie. It's also the truth of word, speaking truth. You're speaking truth when you accept your divinity. That is Maa Kheru. Okay, now what does this have to do with Easter? Easter is a paradoxical story of coming into your God self. Easter is about the spring cleaning. It's about the resurrection. It's about the rebirth. Everything in nature is coming to life. Winter was the dead season, cold, dark, dank. The days are shorter. All right, now we're into Easter after the spring equinox. It's the day of balance. And we have 2 equinoxes a year, one in the fall, one in the spring. With the spring equinox, the rebirth is the movement of the sun from Pisces into Aries, passing the spring equinox. That's the resurrection. The death occurred in fall. That's the paradoxical death of the sun. The sun is passing from Virgo into Libra, balanced scales, scales of equilibrium, into fall, and then from fall into winter. Okay, so now, spring is about the rebirth. The celebration of Easter is about your being resurrected from your not knowing that you're God's self into your knowing that you're God's self. That's the resurrection. The death is a symbol. Death is not a physical death. The death is not knowing that you're divine. Following your death, meaning once you're resurrected, you now have life. And death is represented in the 40 days before Easter, the Lent, the wilderness, the darkness. Okay, that's the correspondence. Until such time that the new spring comes around. That's the sun, S-U-N, and S-O-N, coming into spring. The mating season, the fertility season, birds coming back to nest, animals coming out of hibernation, you coming out of the darkness and ignorance of not knowing that you're divine. It's all correspondence, it's all symbolic. We are crucified when our acceptance of our Maa Kheru or Christ self is dormant or in the wilderness or wandering until such time that we are reborn and resurrected. What is the significance of the moon in the Easter season? Why is Easter celebrated that first Sunday after the first full moon after the spring equinox? Why? Okay, while the sun is representative of your conscious awakened mind or awakened self, the moon is the soft, feminine, intuitive, subconscious level of your consciousness that cycles and flows through the seasons, through the years. It represents change. There's a birth, there's growth, and then there's the decay. Then there's rebirth. Okay? All right? And then you have the moon being more reflective of our inner nature, our emotions, our inner knowledge. Fall and winter season, the time that's necessary for rejuvenation. All right? So there's a lot happening that we can't see, it's hidden. And there's a growth happening, and there's a preparation happening. When that spring rolls around, life, nature has been preparing and is ready now to express all that remained hidden in the dark season. The full moon is the coming out. It represents the rebirth in the same way as the sun represents the coming out from Pisces to Aries. The moon represents the coming out of the emotional aspects of the self, how you feel about yourself. This is the Maa Kheru again, showing itself. The acceptance of your divine self. The intuitive feeling, the connection of your subconscious identification of yourself with the conscious, overt acceptance of your divine self. It's the balance. That's why the focus is on the equinox. Equinox is balance. So when your subconscious inner self-identification is linked in sync with your conscious self, when that balance occurs, you're considered coming into your Jesus or your Christ self, or coming into your Maa Kheru self. It's a wonderful story. Wonderful story. And I hope that you all are able to see some of these correspondences. On my Substack, I present this information in a little more organized fashion. I'll end it here. Until next time, peace and love.